They are Pastor Andy and Kanish.
Hey, welcome
Yo!
back to ATCHAT. Yo!
Hello.
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
just having my dinner.
What you having, Pastor?
Rice from Nando's. This is not an advertisement.
We don't go to Nando's to eat rice, Pastor. That one you can get from.
I finished the chicken already. This the rice, the last part.
Okay.
Yes.
Interestingly,
How are you,
I
man?
had chicken as well. Yes.
Wow.
I bought this chicken chop from grocer, put it in air
Ah.
fryer for 30 minutes, and I got a chicken chop. Yes.
Wow.
For like
Okay.
what, $4.
Okay, now I'll say back to you. Hey, Ganesh, people don't go to grocery store to buy fried chicken, like ready-made chicken. They go to grocery store to buy like fresh chicken.
That was fresh. I had to fry it. It's marinated
Wow.
for me. Yes.
Nice.
Yes,
Okay,
but we're
good.
back to ATCHAT and we chat about everything teenagers related, all things youth, right? And part of what we talk
Yep.
about life and date chicken. Okay. So
Okay.
today we want to cover a very interesting topic. Yes. So
Yes, very interesting.
okay, but the noise from background is quite tight. John, can you put your pen away?
Somebody is breathing into their mic. I wonder who.
Yes, snoring into the mic.
Maybe it's the chicken you ate. Okay.
Okay, yes. So I'm
Yes,
going to
yes.
read out the topic for today because we have to establish some context. So we're going to talk about my house, my rules, right? So
Wow.
of course, my house is just.
You said it to your wife or what?
Yeah. It's just me and my wife in my house. So we are not going to talk about that because it is my rule.
Ah,
But there are houses where it consists of, parent and teenagers and kids, sometimes even with grandparents. So who rules the house, right? We always say the man rules the house, but in this context, maybe yes, maybe not. So we want to talk about that today. So let me just share the context, right? Teenagers today, they seem to learn and understand what they want in life earlier, right? So some of their thoughts are put together with the help of internet. Okay, they follow influencers on YouTube, on Instagram, and even Twitch, right? So today we want to answer the question: how do teenagers feel being controlled by their parents in the things that they do, the things that they watch, and the things and how they behave at home? Yes, that's right. Who rules the house? Is it really the
Okay.
parents,
Okay.
or is it?
So-
yeah.
So since we are on this establishing context, right? We are talking about how much control a parent should have over a teenager's life. But is it just at home or just in general? Like, when when the child goes outside to hang out with their friends, do we include that also? Like parents setting rules, maybe curfew. In general, right? We're talking about in general.
Yeah,
right?
in general, it just sounds really nice to say my
Yeah.
house, my rules. Yes.
Okay, great.
But in
Yeah.
general, yes. How
And
much
also, of
control?
course, so it includes everything like what the child eats, what time the child sleeps, and of course, the big thing is internet, because a lot of a teenager's life has relation to the internet. Nowadays with online classes, online tuition, but also just leisure, right? Games, social media. So all of these things. Basically, we're talking about like every aspect of a teenager's life, and how much of control a parent should have over their life, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And to do that, we have invited two guests on our show.
Yes.
One is, I think we will consider him still a teenager, although he has graduated from high school, but haven't started college yet. And there's still a teen in his age. So he's a teenager. And that will be John Chiew,
Yeah.
who will be representing the views of teenagers. And to represent the views of parents will be a parent herself. And we will actually get her to introduce herself a little bit more to better explain what she does. But generally speaking, she she reaches out to parents, and she has like online talks and online workshops and different programs to help parents parent better, I guess. Different ways to parent. So that's what she does in a nutshell. But we will invite her up, Samantha Yeoh, that will be her name, and she will now tell us a little bit more about herself, and then we'll go to John.
Hello, hi everyone. Thanks for inviting me up here. So yes, I'm Sam. In a nutshell, like what Pastor said, what I do is I work in the area of family support, family development and support. So I work with a lot of parents, and to put it in understandable terms, I guess I help parents understand their kids so that they also can come from a better position when they parent. Yes.
Great. Wow, see, I told you she will put it so much better. Yes.
But I guess we
what I
should also
said,
establish that we are not trying to do a debate here, right? Between the parent or a professional and John, the teenager.
Yeah. It's not a debate, because just like Sam just said, right? She's trying to bring understanding.
Yes.
Help the parent understand the child, help the child understand the parent. I think that's also our intention here today on Exchange Chat. Karnish and my intention is not to start a fight. Our intention is to establish more understanding, so that parents and teenagers who are watching this, they have some handles, they have some some reference to work with, and to then to decide what kind of rules in their house that they want to have, right? John, how about you? How do you describe yourself? And before you describe yourself, can you answer this quick question? Oh well, we'll leave the quick question to after you introduce yourself. Why don't you tell us about yourself first?
Okay. My name is John, and I'm a teen, as Pastor introduced myself or me.
Yeah.
And I still live with my parents, and so I think the reason why they brought me onto this chat is because they want to find out what's my view on the teen's perspective and understanding parents lah. I mean, I there's not much to describe about myself. I'm just a teen who's trying to give my point of view on. Certain,
great. So like we said just now, we want to talk about we'll probably touch on like different and various aspects of a teen's life and how much control a parent should have over those aspects. But I have a feeling that not just feeling, I mean it is a plan that throughout this chat tonight, we will also give quite a bit of attention on the whole internet thing, right? Because such a big part of a young person's life today. So to start off, right, John, I want to start off with you, because after this, Karnish is going to ask the audience, the 50,000 people watching right now, about their views. But first up, you, Jonathan, from a scale of 1 to 10, okay, 10 being a lot or 10 being like very, and 1 being less, okay, and not so. How important is the internet to you? So what is the scale from 1 to 10? What is your rating? How important internet is to you? And why? Why do you rate it that way?
On a scale to 1 to 10, I think
Yes.
for me it's an 8. Mainly because the internet is basically like it's quite a big influence in everyday life kind of thing now. And I think especially now that we're in like MCO period still, I think the internet is a very big thing that we need to use lah. So, and I think for myself also, when I was in school, the internet is very important because obviously we have to tune into classes online and all that. So, yeah, I would rate it on an 8, but not exactly a 10 because the internet doesn't really revolve around my whole life. So there's still a bit of space where the outside world is and not just the internet lah. So yeah, I guess
cool.
For me it's 8. Yeah.
Right. Well, would it be fair for me to say then, therefore, you live 80% of your life on the internet and the other 20% outside?
Yeah,
no,
pretty
right?
much.
Oh, okay.
20%
Ganesh, someone like John, especially, but of course, all of us do it now also. But no, Ganesh, someone like John would, in that generation, right? If they don't know something, they will say to each other, "Hey, let's just Google it."
Yes.
Right, when you find, okay, I want to find out from you, Karnish, since you're older than me. In your generation, what do they say? Like, they want to find out something, they don't have information. They don't say Let's Google it. What do they say?
They just say, I don't know.
I don't know. Very
I
good, very
don't
good.
know. Ask someone
Or
else.
ask someone else. Ask Papa, ask Mama. Okay,
Yes.
okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. Great. So Ganesh, I think you have something planned for our now 70,000 people watching.
Okay, great. I really
Yeah.
appreciate all of you watching, but we have a very small activity for you. I'm going to share my screen right now so you can see what's going to happen. But John earlier has shared that between the scale of 1 to 10, he named 8 of how important internet is for him. I also want to hear from you, right? The audience, whether you are adult or if you're a teenager. What you do is you go to menti.com, right? Just go to your browser, type menti.com, and then type in the code 11436137. Yeah, 11436137. After you have done that, I'm going to move on to the next page, because in the next page we also have the code on top, so don't worry about that. Okay, so the first question on your Menti, once you submit, it should ask like this: do you think that you are addicted to the internet? It's just a yes or no question. Wow, so fast. We already
No.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes or no? How about you, Pastor?
Wow.
You are like in the in between generation, right? Are you a yes or no?
Addicted to internet. Addicted means you suggest that you ask me, I can never answer your yes or no, right? Addicted will suggest that I cannot live without it, right? I get cold turkey when I don't have it. So I guess it will be a no.
It'll be a no,
Yeah.
So quite a lot of people.
How about you?
No, I think I like to say maybe yes, because I try to reflect on my life. I try to reflect on my life. It's like WhatsApp almost every hour. At work, right? It's like emails, and you have Teams, and you're always looking at something that is related to internet, right? So and then when you're free, I'll be on Instagram, and I'll be scrolling through Reels and TikToks, and then I have games to play, and it's also connected to the internet. So I guess what John said is true, that 80% of his life and probably my life is revolved around the use of the internet. I don't know if I would say addicted, but I definitely use internet a huge portion of my life. Yes.
All right.
Sense,
Okay.
But maybe addiction
Looks like most people or 80,000 people on the internet. Most of them say no. But Ganesh, know what's interesting? A lot of people who are addicted to something also say they're not addicted lah. So yeah. A crazy person will say they're not crazy or something like that. But yeah, okay. I guess what people mean by no is that I can live 5 minutes without it lah. So
right.
So I guess I'm not addicted.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
How do we go to the next one? There you go. Are you dependent on the internet? This is the one that we did earlier, right?
Dependent, I would say, I don't know.
Reach the end of presentation.
Why, Ganesh, you so far jumped to conclusion?
Oh, wait. This was the second one. Yeah, are you dependent on the internet? Yes. So I guess, that's the difference of the question. One is addiction, one is dependent. Now you put it that way. Maybe I'm more dependent than addicted.
So I guess you are definitely dependent lah.
Aren't we all? In fact, now we are streaming online. We are dependent on the use of internet. Yes. So Pastor Andy, please pay your internet bill every Thursday. So majority, if not, I'll consider all, because we have 7 voters here and everyone said yes, we have 100%. They're all dependent on the internet. Those who are not dependent on the internet, they're probably, I don't know, even my parents depend on internet these days to call me, right, to check on me and stuff like that. Yes, so that's all we have for Mentimeter today. Thanks for participating. We will keep your score and we will use it for later in our program in X Teams.
All right.
Yes, okay. Back to you guys. Pastor. Yes, Sam is here with us.
Yes.
So we want to move into this time of
Yeah.
discussion, but remember that you get to ask any questions at all. Those audience that you're watching, we have a QR code on the top left of the screen, or you can go to Slido and type in ATCHAT, and that will bring you to a place where you can dump all your questions as an anonymous person, and we will attempt to answer your questions, right? Also, if you would like to express or if you like to share some opinions and thoughts, you can use the Slido channel and we'll read it out for you. Alternatively, you can just type out directly on YouTube. Yes.
Right. Okay. So we'll start with I guess we'll start our discussion. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we'll start with John lah. When we say that teenagers this is general perception lah. You can of course agree and disagree. Teenagers don't like to be controlled, right? That would be the perception, right? When we say teenagers don't like to be controlled, especially at home, what do you think people mean by that? You know, first of all, do you agree or disagree with that statement? Teenagers generally do not like to be controlled, especially at home. Okay, do you agree or disagree? And then can you maybe explain why you agree or why you disagree? And then we go further from that.
I think I do agree to that statement to a certain extent, because I mean as a teen, when you're at home, you feel like that's your sort of comfort space where you can do your own thing, zone out and all that. So I think if at home you're being like controlled in a sense, you just won't find like that same like you won't feel like, oh, I'm not in my comfort place, you know, like I just don't like it here at this moment lah. So I guess to a certain extent, yeah, I do agree that teens or myself don't like to be controlled too much, especially at home lah. Yeah.
Okay. Could you help us define control? Like, what is control to you? Like, if
Control. Okay,
yeah,
I think like one point would be like, let's say like I'm in my room, okay, and like every 10 minutes, like somebody comes into the room to like sort of kacau me, like I will find it very bothersome, and like I just wouldn't like I just don't find it like a thing that I won't get annoyed at lah. Because like if I'm doing my own thing and then like every like 10 or 15 minutes you come into my room just to like ask me something or kacau me, like I would get slightly annoyed lah. I guess like for me, control in that sense lah.
okay, so sounds like control to you means like when someone, say your parent, is in your personal space lah, right? Personal space can be your room. Your expectation is that this is my space. I want to do my thing. You coming in every few minutes, checking on me, you are like invading my space, right? And that is a form of control to you. You feel like maybe you're checking in on me because you want to make sure that I am doing whatever it is that you think I'm supposed to be doing and not what I think I'm supposed to be doing, right? So yeah, something like that. Which sounds like to me, if that particular situation, which sounds to me like the parent may have a very different perspective altogether. Like, I don't think the parent doing that is thinking in my mind, I got nothing better to do now. Let's go and control my kid. And then go come into your room, right? The parent's probably thinking something else in her mind altogether, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow, I haven't heard from John for 2 hours. I wonder if he's dead. No, something like that. I don't know. So maybe let's hear from a parent lah. Like, Sam, like, what do you constitute as control?
I think, right, that like nobody likes control one. Even as kids, it's not you try to take a toy away from a kid, like you say, okay, time's up or whatever. Since young lah, so I don't think it's I don't think it's something that people appreciate lah. If
Right.
it's not allowed in your lives lah, right? But I think for this point also, like when you say just now, the parent sees it from a different perspective. Well, I guess because like since young, my personal space have always included my kids. like, you know, they sleep with us lah, then I don't see a point like when I need to say, okay, you don't sleep with me anymore. I mean, it's for us, it's more like your choice lah, right? And every time I eat, okay lah, you come and take my food, or every time like you sit down on table, you're there. So I think from the parents' perspective, it's yeah, like we include you in our personal space already. So sometimes like, yeah lor, like when I go into your room, maybe then it's genuinely forget to ask permission, because yeah, you know, it's more like I am, in that sense, I'm more comfortable to have you around than, I guess, the teen lah. Understandably so, because of where they are, the stage of their life, the things that they need, and things like that. But yeah, if you just want that perspective, I think it's also like, in terms of personal space, I don't see my kids as invading my personal space lah. Yeah, they are definitely included lah. Yeah, so then I also forget that, hey, actually they also got personal space one.
Right. Okay. So maybe space is a bit like subjective also, right? Like a parent might say like, "What do you mean this is your room? This is my house. It's my room. You're living in it." And then the child might say, "But hey, you know, everything in this room says me, right? It's my bed, my smell, my dirty underwear. So of course it's my room. So already it's subjective in that sense. And so I guess in a very oversimplified way is like you guys need to communicate lah and make it clear, right? But okay, maybe let's talk about something other than personal space. John, I'll go back to you. Like, what other things that your parents might do that will make it feel like control to you?
Other things,
Yeah.
I guess
Like,
like
okay, for example, maybe I'll just frame this a little bit.
Okay.
Like, if your parents say, "Sure, go hang out with your friends, but come back by 9:30 p.m."
I
How do you
don't
feel about something like that?
I don't really have a problem with that. Like if my for me, if my mother asks me to come back at this certain time, I don't really mind following that rule that she set lah. But
Okay.
I think like if like things like I want to go for this particular event, and then my mom disagrees with it, I'll probably
Right.
I'll probably feel like, okay, I don't understand why you won't let me go. Like let's say even like let's say it's like like I go for like sports like badminton and all that, and like she says like, no, I don't think you should go. And then when I ask her, you know, like why I cannot go, she cannot give me like a proper, like she can't give me an exact reason why I can't go. So I guess like I would find like, okay, that's like why can't I go, you know, and all that. I think in that sense, like that's another example of like controlling, but not really controlling myself lah. Like yeah. Like I just
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
I just want to know, you know.
Yeah.
I always ask why, and apparently my mom finds it like,
So the issue is not so much about not letting you go. It's more of like already don't let you go, like cannot really answer why.
yeah, like
Why
cannot
not?
answer
Like,
why.
why not? Oh, it's my house, my rules, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's more like
Okay. Cool.
asking why, you know, why I can't do this and that kind of thing.
Okay. So you'll feel a lot more like control when you don't understand the reason why.
Yeah. Like
If
when I
you
don't have-
understand the
yeah.
reason why, maybe it doesn't feel so much like control if you can understand why. Although you can't guarantee whether it will not feel like control, right? But
Yeah.
maybe if you understand the reason why, maybe you could like, okay lah, I guess it's not really control. This is more like you care for me, or
Yeah.
maybe this is more like you worry about me. So okay lah, I can accept lah. But if there's no reason, it's gonna feel a lot like, okay, so you just want me to do what you want me to do, and I don't even know why.
Yeah. Like I just need like a simple answer like to why I can't go here, or like why can't I do this and do
Okay.
that. Like I think just a simple answer will basically like help me like understand like a bit more to why you would say no to this or that lah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, fair enough. So Sam, from a parent's perspective, right? Like,
Mm.
I don't know. Like, I don't know whether you do it. Like, whether you do that. Like when you, maybe set a rule or you stop your child from doing something. Whether you tend to explain or you don't explain. But I don't know. I'm asking you to make a guess here. From your experience or observation. Like, why do you think some parents do that? Why do they make rules and they don't explain it? And then after that, maybe after explaining that, can you explain what you feel, what you think should be done?
Yeah, the most common thing is that they don't know how to explain lah.
Ah.
Because it's like they have. I think we find ourselves in this very weird age, right, where the way we were parented is so different, or the way it's so different than the new generation of parents. Like I'm saying, like if you don't have a kid, if let's say you have a kid 7 and below, I think you will understand this better. If let's say if you are a parent right now and your kid is 7 and above already, I think you are still generally what I get is that you are still in that phase of awkwardness. Like you probably understand that you have to explain things a little bit more already, but you don't know how, because you were never showed exactly how to communicate with your child. And so because what you've probably received is like, I tell you do lah, there's no asking, you ask someone kena lempang, right? So like that was the experience, right? And so now coming to like your child being in, and especially if you're a teen in this phase right now, you are expecting a little bit more from your parents because of the generation you are in also. But your parents are not they do not belong to that generation that would, I guess, offer them the know-how to do it. Yeah. So like when you ask the question why, to them it's like, do I need to explain this to you? It's like, so actually it's very simple. The answer to the why, I can honestly tell you, for all parents, comes down to this, and it comes down to these things since young. The why is because I just don't want you to get hurt. I just want you to be safe. Whatever you can explain, right, it all boils down to, I want to keep you as safe as I can, whether or not it's allowing you to go somewhere, allowing you to watch something, allowing you how much internet, allowing you to take what subjects, because I also scared in the future you got no job, then how? Like, it all comes down to, I just want, in that sense, I want the best lah, but it all comes down to the point of also like, I want to keep you the safest I can. I want to protect you as best as I can, but all that is lost in translation, because I guess it's very hard lah. Even it's sometimes parents in that generation also find it very hard to say I love you. It's like have to sneeze or cough it out like that. Like, So if you want to understand why, it probably comes down to that as a baseline, but and communication and lack of the know-how of being able to communicate it. But I also want to bring this point across, okay? So I know a lot of teens feel very suffocated when it comes to this point. Like, I don't understand. Help me understand. Like you said, John. Like, if I can even see one single point from, like, I don't know, a glimpse of from your perspective, I might be able to accept this better, right? But there's also like a phase in life, okay? So and I teach this all the time. So from young 0 to 4, right, your brain starts developing, okay? But it only starts, the frontal cortex of your brain, okay, the part of your brain that helps you do executive function, that means self-control, reasoning, making good decisions, understanding consequences, all these things starts developing at 4 years old onwards, plus minus there, okay? So then only your brain starts to wire all these things together, like, oh, okay, I cannot do this because, like, okay, now I understand what it means by it's not safe, and like all these things are right. And then the funny thing is, when you hit puberty, plus minus there, this whole system goes into a mode of recalibration all over again. That means, right, that's why of course there's like the whole hormone thing and all that, but as your brain tries to recalibrate its way to mature further with all it has already, to basically just build new pathways and better pathways in your head, right? That's why all these things comes about also. But it is also that point of time, right, that I guess boundaries also come back to be more important. That's why you find in parenting, right, like 4 years old and above, when kids start to understand a bit more, then parents are like, oh, okay, finally easier a bit already. Then they hit puberty, then it goes like, what is this all over again? It's either teenager or teenager now, right? So there's like, we have that saying. So it's actually your brain goes through that mode, and also at the same time, when your brain goes through that whole recalibration, it is important to set boundaries around it, to safeguard you lah, basically, until it matures to a point where it can go on its own again. But as it recalibrates with all the knowledge that you have already, that's when you find it very difficult, because you think, I was there. I thought I also thought, like, I know lah, I know better lah, mom, why can't you just trust me more lah, right? And that's why without like proper communication, then things can get a bit tense lah. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Kanesh,
Yes.
how you still there?
Yes.
Sorry.
We need to learn about neuroscience already now, eh?
Yeah, I see. Like you while Sam is talking, you're trying to locate where your brain is.
yeah, I was googling what is brain.
Google what is brain?
Okay, so we've heard about.
No, but it's important, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
I'm going to move to a different one. You have any add-ons, Pastor?
No. Yeah. So far, so good.
I was want to say, we heard about two of John's challenges staying at home, right? One is just don't like people coming into his room every 10 minutes. Another one is wanting to know why he can't do certain things, right? But we also have one input through Slido from one of our presumably teenager who is looking for a place to study. And the question is this, right? What if my parents don't let me further my studies overseas? How do I feel with that? That's the exact wording that he or she put in. Mr. Anonymous, our best friend. Okay.
I think it's how do I deal with that? Yeah.
Yeah. How do I deal? So I guess the teen is asking, how do I converse with my parents that I want to go overseas and studies? Or how should I feel, getting rejected by my parents? And this is a big thing, right? Because this is a big thing to a teenager that probably puts a lot of effort in studies, wants to go abroad. We don't have much context to this question, but it is being said that way. What are your thoughts on that, Sam?
Wow. I think it all goes down again to communication. So instead of assuming, right, I think, and if let's say I make the assumption that the parent itself is not the type to explain things, then I guess it falls down to our Mr. Anonymous to decide whether it is worth it to have a conversation about this and about my feelings about this. And if there is an opportunity or avenue that we can sit down and I can understand better about what's going on. Because if not, then the alternative would be that we just go on, one side thinking nothing is wrong, the other side just think that like I will forever be misunderstood. So if you don't want to do that and the parent does not have the ability or the know-how to do it, then our dear person here then has to decide whether it's worth it or not to try and see whether they can talk or not, lor.
Right. How helpful would it be if the Mr. Anonymous / young person brings in a third party to talk on his or her behalf?
It depends on the relationship, I guess. Because sometimes if you bring in a third person too fast, later the parent is like, wow, ganging up against me now. Like, you bring in a person on your side now. I also want a person on my side now, like.
Right.
And then then it shuts down the communication. So I guess it's like test water first and see, like, try to open conversation first. If cannot, then maybe the school counselor, if like someone whose results are really good, usually the school counselor also can step in and say, hey, what's going on here? Like this person wants to further his studies, like you say lah, right? Like, it works so hard and all that. Or it cannot be, like, even if it's not that case lah, I would say just test water first before you bring someone in where the parent also don't know about. Make sure it's in agreement lah. The parent also know that you're bringing somebody in to have this conversation with.
Right, right. Yeah. So of course we are answering the question from one of our most faithful audience, Miss Anonymous. Every show also Anonymous is here to join us. We really appreciate you for joining us every single time. But I guess we can also like kind of like interchange, right? Because for Mr. or Miss Anonymous, it's like I want to go overseas to study. But you can replace that with like I want to go party with my friends, or like I like to watch Batman for the fifth time, or whatever it may be. And then the parent says no, then now that person needs to deal with it and has to probably ask themselves, is it a conversation worth having, and yada yada lah, right? So the same principles apply lah. Communication, talking, test water, everything that you just said applies to other situations as well lah. Of course, studying overseas is a bit more long runway. Like you maybe think of overseas, like you want to go in a year's time, 6 months time, so you got a bit more time to play with. If you want to watch Batman for the fifth time, like tonight, then a bit shorter runway. So Mr. or Miss Anonymous will have to like decide lah. Then like, do I want to fight over this, or do I just like never mind lah. So yeah, I guess pick your battles, maybe pick your fights. And it will have to be the person feeling controlled that will have to maybe make the decision lah, right? I don't know. And we heard from Sam earlier also, like most parents, when they do something, it's the general reason is like, I just want you to be safe. And I mean, maybe I expressed it differently, but that's the whole root of it. Yeah. So again, Sam, I guess based on that, our parents want the child to be safe, safest possible. So I guess there's this sense of responsibility, therefore, to like, okay, I gotta keep you safe. So I got to say, and I got to set boundaries, which of course will be interpreted by the young person as control. You can call it boundaries, you can call it whatever. It's basically control lah. Okay, you're trying to control my life, right? And I guess and you mentioned about like brain developmental things, and Kanesh went and looked for his brain just now, and all that. So which basically you're saying if you're younger, you have a less of that capacity to make that kind of decision, to set boundaries for yourself, for example, right? So there's this whole age thing. This is age factor. So I'd like to ask, right? When is it therefore time to let go a bit more? Like when does a parent decide, you know what, you're old enough, you're mature enough, okay, you go do your thing, and then you go and you be responsible over your own decisions. Like when do you like say, okay, you can decide now how much internet you want, who you want to hang out with, what time you want to come home? Like when is that?
I think if you're talking like culturally, never, from where we come from, right? Like the more Asian you are, the more like the longer that control sticks lah. But that's the whole point also, and that's why I was like, before this I was also talking to Kanesh about, you sure like you want me to come with this, like, because for me it's all about parent education for now lah. Okay, so when the parent feels that there is no point of time when the parent, I mean, there's no research that says there's a point of time here, 18 years old means, or 21 years old. Okay, so if you want to go down the brain developmental path, right, in fact, the brain does not fully develop to maturity until at least 25. Some research says above 30.
Oh no, okay? John. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, so if we go by that, then it's like, oh crap, like that means I'm never going to live my life, right? So it's always I think it's on the parent side, how much awareness the parent has. Because I mean, as we raise children, right, and especially when we raise teens, we raise them to be responsibly. The goal is for them to be responsibly like autonomous, right? That means I can trust you to make your own decisions. I know you're a good person. I know that for sure. Whatever it is, I trust you lah, right? And so like, at what point does the parent decide to come to that? Oh, I really think it's there's no like hard figure, but for me, it's all about trust and relationship first. And if you can come to that earlier, that's better lah, because then you won't find like this Mr. Anonymous at 17 years old asking all these questions, but then they would be able to have a proper conversation already, right? But generally, of course, then about the time to go to university is definitely a good time to let go a little bit more. Yeah.
Right. Okay. How about John? From your perspective, what do you think? Is your answer like, cause lah when I'm 12, you let go already, Like,
No, 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 no,
or
no,
like
no, no, no.
or do you agree,
No, no,
disagree? Like, yeah, what do you think?
I do agree with what Sam just shared. Uh,
Ah,
there's no really, there's yeah, cause I grew up by mom believing that you being self-sufficient, uh, that's when you know that that your parent really trusts you and all that lah. And yeah, I also don't agree that there should be a figure where your parents should start letting go in that sense lah. And yeah, I think that that whole thing has to be based on trust and relationship, like Sam mentioned lah. And yeah, I guess for me, cause like when I grew up, I'm very thankful to have my mom who really believes that you should be independent and you should be self-sufficient lah. And I think when you grow up with that kind of environment, it really does help you set a mindset where you would try to look more in your parents' perspective lah. And yeah, I think the whole idea of like when like how or when should parents like give a bit more control to their kids life. I think that really depends on how much effort you put in with your relationship with your parents lah. Because your parents know your parents definitely know best about you, and really you might think that you know all about yourself, but really sometimes I find myself like lost when I'm like in conversation with my mom lah, because she knows more about me than I do about myself sometimes. And yeah, they just know better. So I guess like if they feel like they want to lack more control into your own life, for you to decide what you should do and all that, there's really no rough number or age that should happen lah. Because once your parents believe that you're capable of making decisions by yourself, and they will eventually agree with you and all that lah. Yeah.
I think there's some irony in that, no? Like,
right. Okay.
like the younger years, we always like tend to want to know best, and then at some point we've got to transition that actually to start trusting that actually your kid is able already. And so I guess for parents it's hard lah sometimes, because they'll always be our babies. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, John, I have a question for you.
Cool, man.
One of the talking about control and consent, we always think about the internet these days, right? Because teenagers.
Wait, Ganesh.
Yeah.
Hang on,
Yeah.
Before you go to a new question and start a new topic,
Yes.
right? I want to ask John something, because the way he gave his answer just now, right? I just had to ask, like, John, is your mom watching?
It's my mom
And
watching.
is that your real
No,
answer? Is that your real answer, or is
I
that
don't think my mom is watching.
You don't think so?
I don't think she's
okay?
watching.
So that really came from you. Okay, wonderful. Because
Okay.
it was a very mature response. I was going to say that. Okay, cool, Ganesh. Okay. So John's not getting paid to say this. His mom's not really watching.
Mom is not
That's really
on the internet.
yes. That's really a teenager's perspective, and yes, teenagers can think this way. All right, Ganesh.
Yes. Maybe on that note, right? Let's make your mom that person who controls you a lot, John. Let's imagine that kind of.
Okay.
And we're talking about in the context of internet, games. We talk about Netflix. There are a lot of games and Netflix which are probably there is a limitation on age, right? 13 or 18, and we probably talk more on the 18 teenagers, right? And I think a lot of teenagers watches movies, series, shows that above 18, means beyond their age limit, or even play games that way, or even browse the internet looking for various type of contents which they should or shouldn't. But then you have that parent. What would you feel, John, if you want to browse all the internet you want to Netflix everything you want, play whatever you want, but you have a mom who says no, you can only watch PG, I don't know.
Blippi.
Yeah.
Am I gonna speak on like the age of 18 and above, or am I speaking like from
Like, as a teenager, right? You want to watch shows, you want to watch that Game of Thrones, you want to watch that really,
Oh
there's a
my
lot of teenagers who talk to me about shows like that, and I wonder, like, how do you even watch this kind of show? You shouldn't, right? And then what if you're the kind of teenager where, okay, number one, you shouldn't watch that, but you want to watch, and then your parents are like, no, don't watch, and then you feel a sense of control. Like, I want to watch, but you don't let me. I want to play this game, but you don't let me. Why is my parents blocking my Netflix? Why is there like a parental was that consent or control? How would you feel as a teenager having this kind of parent?
Wow. Definitely a lot of conflict in terms of argument, for sure.
But in this case, John, as a teenager, you are wrong, you know.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean,
Like, you will still feel angry.
but the thing is, when
conflicted.
you're like, but the thing is, like, if it's in that situation, right, you definitely will have like a lot of emotion involved, and like you would think that, no, like why do I have to listen to you? That kind of thought. So I can only think that whatever I think, if I have that kind of parent, like, I would think that I'm right in every sense in what I want to do lah. If your parents, or rather if my mom was like that, I would just be a very self-trusting person lah. Like, I wouldn't think that like what you say is relevant for me lah. Cause cause I already know that you're such a controlling person. I would tend to rebel to find that space where I can be away from you and just be my own person, yeah. I think it would just, like, I would rebel a lot lah. Yeah. And I think that would be the same for other teenagers also. I don't think any other teenagers would be the type person that would be like, okay, if my mom says so, yeah, sure.
So both ways the teenager wins, because if the parents try to put a limitation, you rebel. If the parents don't put any limitation, you also win.
Yeah, I would think that I'm in the winning.
Okay.
I'm on the winning side lah, because I want to be my own person. So I'm gonna rebel when and whenever I want to, that kind of thing. But it's quite tough to answer that lah, especially since my mom is not that kind of person. So I don't really know how to how I don't know what experience I would actually have from it lah. But generally speaking, I think that's the most likely case that will happen lah. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
And any thoughts from Sam, like from a parental point of view? How do you deal with this kind of brat? This kind of child?
He's not lah. He's a good boy lah, doy. I think, right, like, understanding of child development, into teenagehood is really important lah. I don't think that being angry is wrong, to be honest. I mean, really, like, because in your own brain, in your own mind, in your own understanding, in your own reasoning and everything, what you can understand is that I should be able to, but why am I not allowed to, right? And so I think it's not, I think lah, for me, it's not wrong to be angry. It's never wrong to have feelings. It's never wrong to, but what you do with it, that one is something else lah, right? If then you just want to punish your parents for it, and then you go down the route of, like, I want to get back at you and stuff like that, then then of course that one is not right lah. But having said that, also like it's in that moment it's very hard to undo things that probably the parent also has set the way as such, like since young, and never made that ease into like giving more autonomy to the child, and then building more trust. Because at the end of the day, right, I honestly can tell you, it's right, Kanesh, what you said just now, is like it's either I get to watch or I find another way to watch it anyways, right? Cause so then you when your child messes up, right, I guess the bottom line is this, when your child messes up, I think you have to build your relationship to the point that your child knows that he can still come back to you. I think that's very important. So for me it's not so much about the thing itself, but I mean, like, we've all been there. I also know you say no, it becomes even more of a forbidden fruit sometimes. Then it becomes placed on a pedestal. Then now it's like, wow, I'm lagi interested in it because you said no. And what's the big deal in it? It must be even better than I thought it was, And so, yeah. And so I guess for me, it's just comes back to relationship lah. Very hard to give you like a one-off answer in this lah. But it comes back to the relationship and the parent needing to build this relationship to the point of trust that if the child messes up, accidentally clicks something he shouldn't, even to the point of getting somebody else, like someone pregnant or whatever, it crosses whatever boundaries, crosses whatever line lah. The child still knows that the safest place to come back is home. That's how I want to parent lah. I would say, yeah.
Right. Wow. Ganesh.
Pastor, I'm in a place where I get to make a choice of skipping parenthood. So after listening to all this,
so
I
was gonna ask, do you want kids or not, Ganesh? I have two now. I have no choice. I
think I'll just
have to
adopt
parent.
a 20-year-old straight.
Yeah, but as a parent myself, I want to echo what Sam said, and that's my desire. Whether it will actually happen, I guess there's a lot of factors, but I do desire that. I do desire that my children know that no matter how they mess up, Daddy, Mommy, we're always here, and you can always tell us anything. Like, I would rather you tell us than not. And yeah, it's not so easy to like ingrain that, but I guess it's the little things you do consistently that helps them, because I think it's also ingrained in them to, like, if they mess up, that they want to hide, because they're afraid of being scolded or they're afraid of something. Like, this is all ingrained in us. I don't know what we call it, a sin nature, if you want to spiritualize it. So already there is that working against you, like this nature to, like, maybe have to lie about it, cover it up. Adam and Eve did the exact same thing, right? They messed up, and like the first thing they did was like cover up, run away. So it's like, in a way, you have to, it's like an uphill like swimming across against the current like you have to do a lot to keep your child feeling safe and come back to you. It's a lot you have to do. So children, teenagers, young people, hope you understand, appreciate this.
But I have one question for John, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Two also can.
So John, instead of asking me to answer this question, right, why don't you answer this question for us? In that moment when the boundary is still no watching Game of Thrones means no watching Game of Thrones. I'm sorry, I cannot change that, right? So the boundary is a no, and you are angry. What would help you? What would be something that your mom did that would help you? The boundary is still no. No means no. It's still there. But how can your parent then help you feel better in this situation? Or is it like let you brew in anger? What do you need? What do you think you might need in that moment?
For me, I just need answers lah. I understand the answer is no.
Yeah.
Like, I know it will always be no, but I think it always comes down to the curiosity of the person or the teens on why is it a no lah. Like we know that the answer is gonna be no regardless, but I just want to know why.
Okay, so if my answer to you is that it is too sexually explicit to the point that, like, I cannot even I can't even watch it. Yeah, So then how can I? So if I give you a sound enough explanation, then you'll be okay.
Uh,
Will
I
it be
guess
better?
I think yeah. If like, cause for me, I just want to answer. Like, can be any kind of answer, but I just like you can't like, cause if somebody were to just like if I want to do something and the person just tells me like, no, you can't do this. Of course, my first instinct would be like, why? Like it can be any kind of answer lah, but
Mm.
if the answer like to your answer of like no, and then I ask you why and you just come up with no, I think there's gonna be like it's just gonna be a like a big loop of like why, and then it's gonna be another loop of no, that kind of thing. So I think the only way to resolve that is just by giving like like a simple answer lah. I think that would really help.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks.
John. All right. So John just needs answers or reasons.
Either that
Reason with
or-
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or John
Okay,
can watch
okay.
Pocoyo.
Kokoyo. John, like does that represent most teens, or it's just like you are like that, or you like when you have friends, right? Do most of your friends think like you, like, oh, just give me answers, and I'll stop watching Game of Thrones or whatever.
I think I will feel like, because the rest of my friend groups are also like that lah. Like we are generally like like people who want to just know why we can't do this and that lah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are quite reasonable, reasonable teenagers, able to reasonable, huh? Okay.
Able to reason lah.
Yes.
Cause I
Reasonable.
feel like if you're already at that age, like you should be quite a reasonable person lah. But I think
Okay.
in order to be reasonable, you just need answer lah. to your why question.
Would it help if
Alright.
your parent also told you like when? Okay lah, not specifically when can you watch Game of Thrones? When can you finally watch Game of Thrones? Lah, okay, maybe not that lah, but like give you a maybe give you a timeline to when this is achievable for you. Would that help? Like instead of just saying like no, you're not going to the concert, but maybe next year onwards, maybe we can look at one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I guess can come to agreement at some point. But I guess like things like I guess like when you come to things like watching Game of Thrones or all that, I still think like even now, I think my mom will still say like no, I don't think you should watch it. I think that's what she would say lah. Like her answer will always still be like no, regardless. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay. I don't know about Game of Thrones lah. With like probably never watch it, but yeah. Sure. So Kanish, how do you wanna bring it home?
Yes. It's almost 9,
We
or
have-
it's about
We have
9.
1 minute.
Yes. That's all we have for Extin's Chat today. But Pastor, what are your thoughts on this? You are a teens ministry pastor, and you encourage empowerment, right? Empowerment of teenagers. I think we spoke a lot today. We spoke about communication and having that that dialogue with the parents, the openness.
Right.
I would also like to think that this Extin's Chat seem a little bit biased in a way where we kind of make it feel like communication solves everything lah. While that's the ideal goal, but in reality, actually, sometimes it's very difficult to reason and to speak to our parents. Maybe because they're alpha or whatnot lah, right? And sometimes the teenagers are just shy or scared, and they're only learning how to reason with their parents. It's very difficult. It's not easy. But sometimes on a good day, yes. Especially when the topic is difficult, right? It's not easy to talk to your parents. But anyway, all that aside, any final thoughts, Pastor?
Yeah, you just took up all my time. So I'll have to make this really quick. You know what? It's impossible to summarize everything in 1 minute, lah, right? But I gotta try. The thing is this: while communication doesn't solve everything, communication is like the vehicle. Like without communication, that is a vehicle takes you from point A to point B lah. You want to get to point B, right? You need something to get you there. I think communication is what gets you there. How quickly you get there, whether the road will be bumpy or not, whether you will take a detour, all that are like variables. Okay, but you need a vehicle to get you there. So communication is like probably the one of the only ways to solve any issue. When I say that, of course, we all learn that communication is not just talk, right? Not just words. It's also body language. All of that, lah. We mean all of that, right? But for me, I guess as a teens pastor, I see myself as a parent also to teenagers, like a spiritual parent now, right? So my approach to everything is that it won't be helpful if I'm a pastor or a parent who just says don't do this, don't do that, and then don't explain. So I agree with John that it's good to reason, but I want to point out why I do that. My goal is to educate. My goal is to teach young people how to think, rather to tell them what to do. I in fact, just before the chat, I was having a conversation on the phone with a young person who, the conversation got very intense because I was trying to teach him how to think, right? But he just wants to be told what to do. Just tell me what to do lah, and I'll do it. I'm like, yeah, that's the easy part, because then you will always need me to tell you what to do. I want to teach you how to think, so that even if I'm not there, you can think for yourself what to do, because all actions come from a thought, right? So we rather change the way you think, then you'll change the way you do lah. And it's spiritual. The Bible says, renew your mind through the word of God. And the word repentance actually means change the way you think. So if you can change the way you think, you can change the way you live, act, behave. So that's my approach lah. When I teach the word of God, when I set a rule at home, for example, or whatever it may be, is trying to teach the next person a way of thinking, or at least to present to them, hey, here's another way to look at it. I think that will be more helpful long term lah. In the short term, can be very, very frustrating because not everybody sees it your way, right? And not everybody sees it the way God sees it necessary at first. So it's a longer journey, but I would like to think of it as a long journey that's worth taking lah. Cool. That was 2 minutes. Yep.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Pastor. And thank you once again to Sam and John for being part of today's talk show, X-Teens Chat. Thank you once again to everyone watching and your questions in Slido, your interaction through YouTube. You guys are amazing. But that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Miss Anonymous.
Yes.
Whoa.
We got another question from Bob. We'll attempt to answer you another time. Okay. But thanks for joining us, and that's all we have for you in X-Teens Chat. I hope you enjoyed your time, and I hope that you are blessed. I'll see you guys again in our next episode of X-Teens Chat. Okay, that's all. Okay, bye.